What's up, guys? How's it going? Little Tuesday night hangout. We're here. The Ant-Man himself, all decked out in red. It's a pretty nice hat, by the way. Pretty
Thank you.
sweet.
I appreciate it. I wish the Phillies were doing a little bit better tonight, but hey, you got to ride or die, right, with the team?
That's true, yeah. I mean, things could be worse. So, but obviously, we're Eagles channel, but we can rep the Phillies. So I do appreciate the hat and the gear there and everything else. But shout out to everybody in the chat. As always, Tuesday night hangout. Got some exciting stuff planned, as always, that we do. But we got the Jahan Dotson jersey that we are finally going to spin for. So the giveaway there, which is actually cool because the way that he signed this thing, too, was Major Love Always, brother, and then signed his name. And I didn't actually ask him to do that. But, if you get it, a little personalized message to you, of course. I told him it was to someone of the channel. Now, he did say Major Love Always, brother. If you win, I don't know. He put it on there, so I wasn't discriminating against anybody. But then you got the Eagles football that we will also give away. And let's see, it's Nolan Smith. It's just the Philly Dogs one. I think Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis. So this one as well. Good luck to everybody. We'll spin for that a little bit later. And everything else to talk about. Eagles news, rumors, everything else. Anthony was at Eagles open practice. So for people that were there, that looked like a blast. But lots to unpack there. How was the Eagles open practice? I don't want really to necessarily open up this can of worms, but aside from the parking, aside from the exit of the stadium with what else was going on across the street, but how was open practice?
I mean, the practice itself was good, but obviously, like, the logistics of the event weren't perfect because you had the concert going on and parking leaving got a little bit crazy, but plenty of people, I've tweeted about it, plenty of people have talked about it. So, like you said, not going to dive too much into that. But, I mean, my biggest takeaway just from strictly, like, on the field stuff, because, I mean, I had my kids there, so my 3-year-old son, my 5-year-old daughter, obviously giving them all the attention I could. I couldn't watch every single second of the practice, but from what I saw, I thought, wow, this defense is really, really fast. And I mean, we got the opportunity to go there to the practice. We saw it kind of there as well, but it wasn't as kind of, I guess, fast pace of a practice as it was for the public practice. And I know we talked about this last year when I went, and I thought they kind of put on a little bit of a show for the fans. They obviously draw it out a little bit. It's usually a longer practice than when they normally have it at the NovaCare complex. But yeah, I mean, the defense was just really got the better of the offense that day. And I mean, especially guys like Jihad Campbell and Moro Ojimo, I mean, they just looked like they were playing a different game almost. And I mean, they had all the starters there on the offensive line for the most part, obviously before Landon Dickerson's injury. So the fact they were just kind of beating them up, I mean, it looked like they knew when the ball was going to be snapped before the offense even knew it was going to get snapped. They were just moving at a different gear. So that was kind of fun to watch because obviously the Eagles offense won't be going against that defense when the games actually matter. So, but that was my biggest takeaway.
It helps.
Just right off the bat was the defense is just incredibly fast, incredibly versatile, and I can't wait to see them against other team starters during the regular season.
John says Anthony's ready to buy a Super Bowl ticket after that practice.
Yeah, I mean, based on that defense, I know that the big topic on Twitter today was that, who was it, Aaron Schatz, I believe. I could be mispronouncing his name, but he was talking about how the defensive drop-off is expected and usually happens. But, I mean, seeing them out there and kind of the way they've had these guys built in to replace with Jalen Hunt, Nolan Smith, obviously Moro Ojimo, and Jihad Campbell, Cooper DeJean, wherever he's going to play, he's going to make a huge impact. So it's just going to be really fun to watch.
It's the Swiss Army knife. Cooper DeJean's the cornerback, the safety, the holder. We'll probably throw some others in there as well by the time that we get done with the regular season. But yeah, I was hyped about it too. Obviously not being there, but you texting me. Many others, again, shout out to those on Twitter. Jeff had, I think, pretty much every single play. So shout out to you, Jeff. Very much appreciated to be able to actually showcase what was going on there at Eagles practice. But yeah, I mean, even from watching those clips and highlights, it's to your point, the defense, I know we lost some guys, but the guys that they replaced those with, is athleticism is crazy. As you're going down the line, it's like Nolan Smith, Jalen Hunt, the new guys there, Azeez Ojulari, Josh Uche, Jihad Campbell. I mean, the versatility too. There was one play in particular, and I maybe I could find this here for people to check this out. There was one play where Jihad Campbell walked down to the edge, And you may, I'm not sure, you may remember it, but it was in a goal line situation. He walked down to the edge like he was going to rush the passer, and then ended up getting back to make the tackle. I think I found it here. Let's see. I'll put it up here for people to watch as well. So, yeah, here it is. So he shifts the line over, drops down to the edge, and then he still is able to get back to meet Saquon in the hole. Like, it's small things, but that's like a consistent theme that you see not only with Jihad Campbell, but everybody else because of that versatility. And so, yeah, getting those texts from you, seeing it from everyone else, I think sometimes it's just forgotten or thought of like, yes, we're losing some players, but it might end up in a weird, strange, roundabout way have this defense better because of that athleticism and speed. I can't remember who made the statement on one of the recent podcasts because I've watched and listened to so many, so I apologize. But one of the many out there, great beat writers that we have, made the comment. They're going, I would hate to be a team that does not have a mobile quarterback. And by mobile, they went on to say, like, basically, if you don't have like a Jaden Daniels or Lamar Jackson, good luck, because there's just no outrunning the athleticism on the front seven of the Eagles. And you saw a case in point example of it Sunday night on open practice.
Yeah, and it's not just the guys that I already mentioned, like Jihad Campbell, and even like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. It felt like he's just playing at a different gear this year compared to last. And obviously, I think that has a lot to do with everybody just being more familiar with whether the NFL, if they're going into their second year and they were rookies last year, or just being familiar with Vic Fangio's defense. Even Vic Fangio himself kind of seems like he's calling like things a little bit differently, mixing things up where we're seeing, and I know it's practice, so obviously they're trying to just get these looks out there, but a lot of the base defense with Cooper DeJean at safety, or if it's just like putting or 5 or 6 guys on the line, if they're blitzing. I feel like they blitzed at the practice that we attended. I feel like they blitzed a little bit during the public practice as well, which is not something that they did a ton last year. Like, they didn't have to do that in the Super Bowl against Patrick Mahomes. They were kind of able to just get pressure with the 4 rushers and kind of mixing up who was rushing. But now that you add a guy like Jihad Campbell and Sidney Brown, if he's on the field, because he can do some things as a blitzer as well, I feel like they just have these different options that they didn't necessarily have last year where, yeah, they're getting younger, they're getting more inexperienced, but the ceiling is almost higher. And I know that sounds crazy to say because of how good they were last year, but when you're adding all these freakish athletes that haven't even hit their ceilings yet or even remotely close to their full potential, it just kind of, if everything does go right, like the ceiling is, I don't think there is a ceiling because they're just, the potential is unbelievable.
I remember we did a recording because we obviously do this during the season every single time, usually on Tuesday nights, and then also again for the game previews. And I remember in particular because obviously we had gone to the game, so we were yelling and screaming and everything else. But it was after the Washington game, the Thursday night one, and I believe that you were a little bit hoarse from the yelling or the voice there. But in that recording, you at that time were saying like, this defense is very, or could very easily be better, or you thought it was better than a whole lot of people across the board. Because, you know, it's kind of like, well, have they played anybody else? And you had already made the statement there before we got into, you know, the gauntlet, so to speak, of the schedule and really started to see the defense live out. But to hear that now, I know it's like, yeah, we can understand. People are like, yeah, well, hold on, well, let's get into the season first and see it and everything. Sure, totally could be right about it. Maybe it's not going to transition that way. We're not going to see it play out on the field. But there's just so many like nuances as you're talking about there, whether it is the starters or even some of the backup guys that are getting run. Now we have questions with a safety, with a corner. We'll get into those. We can talk about that also. But I think holistically, you look at this defense, and it's not crazy to think that they can run it back like they did last season. Like they could be as good, if not better. And that is crazy. I do need to bring up too, because some people mentioned this in the chat. I know that was maybe the thought of whenever I brought up Jihad Campbell. I was going to go to the Cam Jurgens clip because that is the viral one, of course. So yeah, I'll play this here because we should. Jihad Campbell. Let's see if I can get it on the screen. Here we go. So Jihad Campbell, right there, he is in the middle of the field. This is a run play. Cam Jurgens is going to go to block him, and just tosses Cam Jurgens like a rag doll. Like it's not even that difficult. And we're talking about 300-ish pounds. There's some rookies, and I talked about this, or said this in a video. It's like some rookies take a little bit of time, right, to just kind of like slowly get them into the defense, slowly introduce them to the NFL, say, yeah, this is the speed. You hear Andrew Mukuba, which I still think he could be very good, but you hear Andrew Mukuba talking in his press conference today and saying, Yeah, it's been an adjustment. Like going to NFL speed, guys make plays when you don't expect it. The speed's a little bit faster. You don't have as much time. Ty Robinson said it as well. Used to having a little bit more time in college football between plays and things like that. Sometimes you have a little bit quicker tempo. The strength caught him off guard. Everything that we've heard so far, and then you see it on the field there at open practice. I mean, Jihad Campbell cannot wait till you have someone else that's not his Eagles teammates, because they're having to like control him to be like, bro, these are your own guys. Let's not have too much friendly fire here. But how can it not get you hyped up to see something like that?
Like I said, it stood out immediately. So seeing him in person, and we talked about his length when we saw him at the practice, but obviously that was a little bit of a slower pace that day. But then seeing him at the public practice, and that's not even in a game yet. It's just the speed that he moves at is insane, and it's kind of crazy to think about because, as you mentioned, he's just getting adjusted to the NFL, right? Like hasn't played a regular season game yet. This is all new to him, and he's already just showcasing his strength and doing a lot of things just off straight up instincts. Like I know he's obviously learning the defense, but
Sure.
he's only a couple months into his NFL career and is already making plays like this. So obviously he almost came down with that interception. Obviously he wants that play back, but just thinking about his potential and him being able to play next to Zach Bond, we haven't even seen that duo necessarily on the field in a game yet, obviously. So the versatility that those two will provide is just crazy to think about. And I know he fell because of the shoulder injury, but it doesn't seem like that's been bothering him at all. It seems like he's pretty much been full go. And I feel like Vic Fangio kind of gave it away when he said, like, yeah, are we guilty of putting a little bit too much on his plate? Yeah. And he made very similar comments about Cooper DeJean last year, right? When he was and Quinyon Mitchell, when he was putting them in different spots. And we saw how great they were as rookies. So Jihad Campbell, you really couldn't have asked for a better start for him so far in Philadelphia.
Yeah, we're sitting there wondering, like, why? Hang on, why is Quinyon Mitchell playing in the slot?
Yeah.
Cooper DeJean's being asked to do what now? He's playing multiple positions, and he's doing the same thing even more this year. But Vic Fangio, it's very well documented. You bringing it up there as well, but very, very well documented. He does not ask a whole lot of his rookies unless you're really good, unless he can tell that. And the grin that he gets on his face, because he doesn't do this with most people, but the grin that he gets on his face when he talks about Jihad Campbell, like, yep, that's my guy. Just wait. Just wait. Dallas is not going to want to see him on week 1. The rest of the league is going to be introduced. I got a kick out of it. I think that you retweeted it, which is why I saw it first off. But Nicole Lynn, Jihad Campbell's agent, like, when there's extra just hype tweets like that, I feel like, okay, I can appreciate it. But just, y'all really let the Eagles get Jihad Campbell. And they did. We'll take it.
It's especially funny to see like an agent put that out there, right? Because usually they kind of just more playing every side of the field in terms of like not getting into team-specific stuff. But she's obviously Jalen Hurts' agent as well. So I think she has quite a few Eagles ties. So the fact that now she has Jalen Hurts, Jihad Campbell, and the Eagles together, it seems like Jihad Campbell could be that cornerstone piece on the defense with just the way he's already playing. I just can't wait to see him actually play during the regular season. I just want him to get healthy and stay healthy to that point, and then on Dallas kind of let the whole nation see really what he's capable of doing.
Feels inevitable that he's going to be starting on week 1. I know it could be Jeremiah Trotter Jr. It could be Bond and Jeremiah Trotter Jr., so we're not totally ruling him out because Trott's been looking good as well. But it's, I mean, how can you not be hyped about it? Eagle One, Matt, what's up? How's it going? Appreciate the super chat. I don't know why this thing moved way over to the side here, so let me try to get this thing centered real quick. But appreciate the 2. And if it's going to, there we go. Okay, finally. Stream problems. But appreciate the 2. So what's up, Eagle family? You 2 are the best. Thank you, Matt. You're the best.
Appreciate that.
The man. Always with the memberships, the Philly Special Show memberships, the donations there, and hanging out on the Zoom calls. So for those Hungry Dogs tier and higher. But we appreciate it. It's the community that makes it what it is. And on that note, because Matt has given away, I wish there was a way to keep track, but Matt has given away, it's got to be hundreds of Philly Special Show memberships. So let's gift away some of those right now. There you go. 5 Philly Special Show memberships. AJ Jones, Shaq Collin, David Russell, Childish Leon, and Quan Brown. You guys got those. So congratulations. Good for y'all. Got some ticket giveaways upcoming, by the way. So I'll just go ahead and share this. There'll be more info coming in a future video and probably multiple. But we have one season-long sponsor. Actually, a couple, but one season-long sponsor courtesy of SeatGeek. More details coming, but courtesy of SeatGeek, we'll be giving away 2 Eagles tickets to any game of your choice after every Eagles win this season on the channel. So another reason you should be subscribed if you aren't already. And we have that on top of the member giveaways, the monthly member giveaways. So it's looking like another hype season. I think we're all looking forward to it, but it can't get here fast enough.
Whole lot of giveaways. Josh is continuing to do his best impersonation of Oprah with you get a car, you get a car, you get a car, but if you get a ticket, you get a jersey, you get autographed football, you get
It's as much
where
as
else
we
do you
can.
get this stuff?
You know, we try to do what we can. So, Trenton, how much is membership? Well, it depends on the tier that you go with. So the lowest one is, I believe it's. I should know this. I think it's like $3 a month, and then the Hungry Dogs, I think, is like six, I believe, 6 or 7, something like that. But yeah, the Hungry Dogs tier and higher gets you access to the monthly Zoom call with other members, and we have a blast last Friday of the month. So, 5 more. John, look at that. John M. Appreciate it, brother. 5 more Philly Special Show memberships. So we have Axeman, Esports, Rachel, and I saw 2 others. I missed that one. Andrew Morris, also. Welcome to Let's Run It tier. Appreciate that. And got another super chat as well from Woo Kingdom with a 5. Says, at what point do we start calling Quinyon the warden of Quinyon Bay? He's the only person occasionally locking up Smitty and AJ in practice. That's a good point. It looked like, based on what I was reading, that Q was locking down Smitty at open practice. Was that the case from the first-hand experience?
Yeah, I mean, if I wasn't going to jump into Jihad Campbell and Moro Ojomo, I feel like Quinyon Mitchell would have been that guy. I just feel like he people almost expected, like we were spoiled by how good he was last season, that we almost expect him to just be this like perennial all-pro lockdown #1 cornerback that Jihad Campbell and Moro Ojomo kind of like surprised. Like they got a little bit more attention, but the thing that surprised me the most with Quinyon Mitchell is just he was playing on both sides during the public practice, where Devontae Smith was on this side, he was covering him. He was on the right side, he was covering. It didn't matter where he was lining up, and he just looked super comfortable on both sides. I know he predominantly played on, I believe, the right side last year or whatever it was, and now they were talking about, oh, was he only going to play on that side again, or is it there were talks of him kind of shadowing guys if they stayed on the outside? It seems like he's more than capable of doing so, and the fact that he had, I think, a pass breakup against Devontae Smith on each of those sides during the public practice, and as typical Quinyon Mitchell, he was talking his trash, celebrating, throwing the seatbelt out, celebration out there. So, I mean, he's locking guys down and he's letting them know. So the fact that he is being tested by Devontae Smith and obviously A.J. Brown when he returns to full participation in practice, that's pretty much the best competition you could ask for. And now during the joint practices, which we'll get into, I'm sure he'll be going against Jerry Jeudy as well. So that'll be a good test for him to kind of switch things up a bit. So I'm excited for him. I feel like it wouldn't be surprised at all if he made an All-Pro this year. I mean, we already see what the rest of the league thinks about him with the top 100 voting and things like that. So, I mean, another guy where his ceiling is just so high.
Can't wait to see it. I think you're right. It's the All-Pro Coop, the APC nickname for Coop, but it's almost like you could do it for both Quinyon and for him. So, let's see. There's other. I was trying to find the clip as you were talking about it, but I don't think I have it here saved. There was a couple of Q breaking up the passes, and I can't. Well, here's one. I found one at least. So for people that did not see it already, I've included it in the practice recap video. But Q on Smitty, one of the times here. I think this is the pass breakup on the left side. So, I mean, there's really nowhere to go. Like Jalen throws the ball because, of course, why wouldn't you at least try for Smitty? But yeah, he's locked down. There's a reason he's as good as he is. And the NFL players are noticing as a rookie being voted for top 50. It's not too bad.
Yeah, I kind of messed up there. I didn't think he was going to get the credit that I think we all thought he deserved and make the top 100. But obviously him and Cooper DeJean both made it. So, I mean, it seems like the rest of the league is obviously caught on to how well they're going to be. And, I mean, who knows how good they'll be in the future.
There we go. Let's see. Outdoor Creations with a 2. Appreciate the super chats here. What does the membership get you? That's a good question. Well, it gets you a couple different things, and depending on the level of membership that you get. So, like I said, the Hungry Dogs tier and higher, you get access to the Zoom calls, the monthly Zoom calls with the Eagles fans. We chat, and it's a video conference call. You also get access to the emojis, custom emojis that you can see. I mean, I'll use a couple of them here, but you've probably seen quite a bit in the chat, but access to the emojis. You also get access to the member-only giveaways. And like I say, usually once a month. Got the ticket giveaways for those. So entry for the longer that you've been there, as well as a couple other discounts throughout the season that we do for, merch and whatnot. So let's see. Got also FP Bulldogs 215 with a 2 says, "Hey Josh, going to the Tampa game. I'm a huge fan. I appreciate that. Thanks, man. Going to Tampa. It's gonna be hot.
The Eagles some luck in Tampa because they've had some trouble down there. So
it's gonna be a little warm, a little toasty. We'll say that. Hopefully, maybe not as much as what it was previously, but yeah, it feels like it's gonna be a little warm, especially that time of year." Clayton. Let's see. I've been out. Are we still doing the golf outing? The golf outing is in the works. Trying to do that. So yeah, we'll try to get that one going. But yes, that is potentially in the works for the spring, and I will keep everybody posted. But seems like we got some good traction on it. I'll just say that. Let's see. Got an ad read here. This happened during the stream, during the game stream. But Diddy Truck, here we go with a 10 bomb. Let's go. Moving soon? Save time and money on your next truck rental with Diddy Truck. Compare prices and companies like U-Haul, Penske, and Budget. Reserve your next truck with Diddy Truck. Hashtag compare to save. What was that? Oh, Alt-Tech? There you go. I didn't know I'd be doing an ad read here, but somebody puts up $10 and
hey,
if you need it, go check it out. Fanny Woods with a 5. Appreciate it, Fanny. Hey, Josh and Ant-Man. Seems like Darius Cooper is our Swiss Army knife on the offense and special teams. We have our own, Travis Hunter. Hashtag fly like an eagle. And we're high on Darius Cooper. I don't know if we're going with the Travis Hunter as quickly. Hopefully so. I think that, did as good as you could in a preseason game last Thursday, but he's let's just say this. He's getting more, and this is the video that I just dropped like 30 minutes ago, but he's getting more looks. He's getting some first-team run. Fanny, like you're mentioning there, yes, with special teams. He's also getting some run there. The more versatility you have, heck, that's a much better sign that you have a chance at making the roster. But then you notice that Aaron Moorhead, wide receivers coach, getting a little extra work with him in before practice. He talked about him today after practice. The more you're getting coached up, even if it's criticism, but the more that you're getting coached up and the more attention you're getting from the positional coaches, it just speaks for itself of how much they're interested in this guy. So just wait for this coming weekend. I know joint practices, that'll mean a lot, yes, too. But like preseason game, heck, if he goes out and does like a repeat of what he did week 1, then forget about it. It's over. Like he will for sure make the roster. But I think if you were just making it today, I mean, am I crazy? I think he would make it. If you're making a roster today, 53-man roster, I think that he's on it.
Yeah, I mean, I know I just put out my 53-man roster projection, like 2 weeks ago or so,
Yep.
whenever it was. And I feel like so much has changed since then. Just like being at the practice, it felt like Darius Cooper and Elijah Cooks were going to be the guys at receiver, right? And then obviously Cooks went down because Johnny Wilson did not have a great practice when we were there. And all reports before the preseason game were that he was struggling and didn't really necessarily stand out in a positive way. And then he did great in the preseason game when Tanner McKee was throwing him the football. Obviously, when McKee came out, Wilson kind of took a little step back, but that's kind of to be expected. But then you just see Darius Cooper where he had a ton of hype going into the first preseason game and then kind of exceeded expectations that were already kind of high for him as an undrafted free agent with his performance. And now he's getting first-team reps, like you mentioned, and they're adding more on his plate, and he's getting that extra attention. Those are all positive signs. So honestly, outside of him potentially getting hurt, I feel like he's almost a lock at this point to make the roster. Because if I had to guess and kind of redo my roster projection now, I think I would probably have 6 receivers making it. I think I had only 5 making it initially, and I feel like, though obviously everybody knows the big 3 of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and Jihaad Dotson, but behind them, it would probably be Johnny Wilson, Darius Cooper, and then I think they would also keep Aniyah Smith. I feel like I was impressed with what I saw from Aniyah Smith during the public practice too. It just seems like, and obviously in the first preseason game, it seems like he's moving at a different pace, which is to be expected given the injuries that he dealt with last year. He seems more comfortable. There's obviously a different level of confidence in him as well. So I just think another one, if he's able to stay healthy, it would be really hard to not keep those 6 at this point. But I could also see, it feels like every year all the fans kind of fall in love with that undrafted guy, and then he gets cut, and people are like, oh no, he's never going to pass through waivers. He's never going to. And the next thing you know, he just goes right through waivers, right to the practice squad, like, and no problem. So, I mean, if Darius Cooper does get cut, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing either, because a lot of times teams do want to keep the guys that they've invested in, and the player wants to stay with that team because they're comfortable and they know what's going on there. They know that if there is an injury, they are just one call away from getting that roster spot. So you don't really see a ton of players get claimed by other teams. Usually those are more of like former higher draft picks that teams couldn't select in the draft, and now they're kind of being exposed for the first time to everybody else. So I don't know if I think Darius Cooper will make the roster, but I don't think it would be the end of the world if he was cut also.
Yeah, we're all hoping that he makes it, but yeah, it's one of those of Johnny Wilson, as you say, he definitely improved his stock. You gotta like the fact at least that Aniyah Smith has, as you said, made a couple plays in the return game also, but has been getting in extra work with Jalen Hurts after practice. So I think it speaks for itself if QB1's willing to hang around and be like, yeah, you're trying to get reps. You know, I think he even asked Aniyah how many reps you trying to get, and Aniyah is literally just like, until I'm tired. And you know, if you know anything about Jalen, it's like, okay, that's probably winning you a little bit of credit from QB1 there. It's like, all right, yeah, I'll throw it to you. You want to get a little extra work? So he did that. Jahan Dotson playing really well. Limited snaps, obviously, for just one drive, but Jahan Dotson looks much better than last year. We know the chemistry that he's got with Jalen compared to last season, as he's talked about it multiple times. So the offense, I think that there's some excitement there, obviously. Open practice, it was interesting. I mean, the main takeaway, I think, for most people was that it was very vanilla. The defense seemingly won it, of course, but like just vanilla, maybe not as much motion, play action. You were there, obviously, though. Is that the way that it felt? Was it just so much of the defense being what they are? Was it the offense, maybe a combination, the offense also not showing everything, because we're just at this point so far in the preseason?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't seem like the offense was doing anything too elaborate. The one thing that did stand out that I did kind of make a note of, I didn't tweet anything out, like I said, because I was just so focused on kind of being in dad mode that day, but they did use 13 personnel a couple of times and mixed it up between Harrison Bryant being the third tight end and Colin Granson being the third tight end alongside Dallas Goedert and Grant Calcaterra. So that was kind of interesting because they were running. They did some running plays out of that formation, and they also had some play action and some straight up passes. So that did seem like something they were kind of trying to utilize and use more than we saw last season. So now that they have a potential third tight end, depending on who they keep, or if they do keep Harrison Bryant and Kylen Granson, I feel like they have different kind of skill sets, different body types to give those different looks, and kind of, because Kylen Granson can go in the slot, he can go out wide, he has a little bit more speed than a traditional tight end, but he's also a little bit smaller. So they have that versatility where if they do keep 4 tight ends to go a little bit heavier, they have a lot of different options that they could present the defense.
Good versatility. It's always a good problem to have. You know, we'd start seeing some things, but it did feel like Kylen Granson, I think, I want to say Zach Berman was the one who was saying he's the best of the rest. So far, very small, based on they're not getting a ton of extra looks and everything else, but Kylen Granson may be a little bit above the others. But it will be interesting because those are the questions that we'll, still be asking ourselves, probably even beyond the second preseason game, but get a better idea, get joint practices coming up as well. Brian, by the way, with the 5, appreciate this. Brian, if you're an Eagles camp body, or if you're an Eagles camp body and get cut, now we got more ad here. Use Diddy Truck to move back home. They'll throw in a free bottle of baby oil.
Oh, God.
Brian went there. All right. Well, I read anything that comes in the teleprompter that's a 5, but
Bad job.
Anywho. Okay. So, back to the offense. Yeah, we heard today that Jalen was sharper. The offense was sharper. Very brief practice, right? Because they're getting ready for joint practice. It means more because you're playing against an opposing team, obviously. So you get some run against a team that doesn't know what's coming, as opposed to Fangio's defense, and they're used to the guys. So that'll be a benefit. But anything that you're I know looking for in particular, or just the biggest benefit that you feel like for the Browns joint practice? I know that you're also kind of like looking ahead to players to watch, but just curious of the benefits there that you see from joint practice.
Well, I'm just really interested because Cleveland's defense, when they're healthy, they have a lot of like kind of talent all over their defense. I mean, you look at their secondary, they have Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, who's a guy that I wrote about as a potential target for the Eagles in a trade if they weren't happy with their cornerback situation. But they've had some injuries of their own in the secondary, so that's probably not going to happen. Grant Delpit, Ronnie Hickman are also in there at safety. Then even in the trenches, I feel like obviously Myles Garrett is arguably the best defensive player in the league, right? So he'll be a test immediately for the Eagles offensive line. And they've had some battles in previous years during kind of like those preseason game, well, not preseason game, but the joint practices as well. And there's that infamous picture of him kind of talking to Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata after the practice. It's just those guys being able to work against each other is going to make everybody better. But now they added Mason Graham, they added Malik Collins, they have Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. So they have these different guys along the defensive front that'll give the Eagles like offensive line a little bit of a different look and test obviously Jalen Hurts as well. And they drafted Carson Schlesinger, who was a guy that, along with Jihad Campbell, was kind of considered two of the top linebackers in the draft. So now they'll both be sharing the same practice field. They'll both be testing the opposing offenses. So that's going to be fun to watch too. Just kind of all those defensive players, the different looks that the Browns can present. Obviously, with Jim Schwartz running the show on defense, I mean, he has experience in Philadelphia. He's going to bring the pressure with the wide nine or whatever. He kind of wants to show Jalen Hurts, and I'm sure they'll coordinate things to kind of test Jalen Hurts and kind of script things a little bit to present different looks on both sides of the ball. So it's going to be fun to watch Jalen Hurts kind of handle that challenge of a new defense coming into Philadelphia.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm just curious if we get a little bit of a difference from what we obviously, again, what we've had reported at practice, but AJ Brown maybe will be there. We'll see. He's been limited, slowly getting back with the hamstring. I think if worse come to worse, like you could probably, like if this was a playoff game, he's playing. Like you're seeing enough of what he's done. He's gone through some warm-ups, but there's no reason to force it. But I am curious, like, okay, so you got 2 days, right? You got tomorrow, you got Thursday. Will we see a little bit of AJ Brown there? Smitty obviously is fine, but yeah, the offense with most everyone, it'll be interesting to see what we get. Now, obviously, there's not a Landon Dickerson, so there's the left guard element. So also, how does that play out? But it's ultimately the best case scenario. I mean, all things considered, because there was a moment where we were texting back and forth, and lots of people were freaking out a little bit about it. Just okay, well, is this a missing like a lot of the season? Is this a full season out? Just done. How bad is this thing for Landon Dickerson? Thankfully, he had a minor procedure, fixing up the meniscus, and Landon is not your average human being, as we know, because sounds like he has a very good chance to be back on week 1.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very stressful 12 to 16 hours or whatever it was, right, for Eagles fans. I mean, everybody was refreshing their feed on Twitter or checking for alerts, and the first thing we got was the update that really wasn't an update, because it's like, oh, it's not an ACL, but it's in a meniscus, and we don't know the extent, and they're looking at the options. So then right away we're looking at the options, and it's like, oh, it could be a 4-week injury, or it could be the entire season, and then obviously it comes out that it could be basically a 2 to 3 week injury where he's going to be back for week 1. And given Landon Dickerson's kind of history of his toughness, and I know in college he had a ton of injuries. He tore the ACL in each of his knees, and that was the question coming into the NFL. Like, can this guy handle that workload of the NFL, and how long is he going to be able to play at a high level in the NFL? And luckily for the Eagles, he's been basically an Iron Man in the NFL. He hasn't really missed a lot of time given what he went through in college. So now when this injury happened, it was like, uh-oh, like, is this going to be what kind of sends him down that kind of spiral out of control and kind of deal with the injuries again? But obviously it's turned out it's just going to be a minor procedure. And based on what we've seen from Landon Dickerson, if there was a game tomorrow, I think he would somehow just strap a brace on and play. I mean, I've learned to just not doubt that guy. And we kind of saw Cam Jurgens do the same thing, where he was able to kind of play when needed to when Landon Dickerson went out with his toughness. So it kind of just seems like a thing that's embedded in the Eagles and the way they draft these guys. They want these tough guys that can kind of endure all this adversity and deal with the injuries and deal with a long season. So my guess is that Landon Dickerson will play week 1. And the fact that they did put Brett Toth in there, I tweeted about it as well at practice today, instead of kind of switching things around. I think that kind of hinted at the fact that they think Landon Dickerson's going to be ready for week 1 against the Cowboys.
Yeah, it's crazy watching the clips of him with the knee injury and the big brace that he had on. Like, they showed, I remember before the NFC Championship game, they're showing Landon Dickerson like barely able to move around. Like, I mean, you could tell he's in pain. You could tell it's uncomfortable, everything. And it's like, I don't know how this dude's going to end up blocking today, let alone just move. Like, and the fact that he has to play center, which means then he was pulling in some instances to help block for Saquon and the other runners. And he made it. He made it a half. And then, like you're talking about, the Cam Jurgens fills in for him. Just crazy. You saw the spin move block play in the Super Bowl that Landon
Ridiculous.
did. Yeah. And I love hearing his take on it too, because it's like, to all of us, it's like, oh, what a play. Like, that's insane. And then he's like, yeah, it's stupid. Like, I had to do that because of my knee, but it's stupid. Like, it shouldn't have ever done it. Well, like, he just hates it. Like, man, you could live up on that a little bit just with the hype, but nonetheless, Landon is one of a kind. The toughness, crazy. I do think that you're right. If he had to, he'd probably figure out a way to just strap up and be like, all right, we're good. We'll make it. But yeah, which is one game I think missed in the last 3 years. So he's proven it. It's like we say, great news though, because for a moment it's like, well, what are we going to do there? Brett Toth is getting those reps. I saw that some people, we won't name exactly who, but some people didn't necessarily appreciate the hypothetical thrown out there of maybe this means the Eagles are planning on Landon Dickerson for week 1 because of that. But there's some PTSD regardless for some people. He's not snapping the football. I guess it's better with a left guard than it is for the center spot. But some people, it's good, right? We get a kick out of it. Some people, it's fine. They just get a little bit upset about it.
It seems like Brett Toth has kind of just become like the new Jack Driscoll, where Jeff Stoutland just loves him for some reason, and he's going to find a way to kind of get him on the field at some point, at some position, just play him literally all 5 spots and just see what he can do. Obviously, center, there was a little controversy there about his snapping ability and ruining plays during practice. Did that happen? Did it not happen? Whatever. But, I mean, he looked relatively good like during the preseason game, and from what we've heard during practice, he's looked better at guard, and even if he's had to play a little bit of tackle at times. So, I mean, he has the potential to be kind of like a utility end of the roster kind of depth offensive lineman. Ideally, I don't think you want him starting. And what we've seen from Jeff Stoutland in the past is he'll move things around to get his best 5 guys out there, which is why I wrote in a recent article where I said, I think if there was a worry about Landon Dickerson being out for week 1 or even longer, that they probably would have shifted Tyler Steen over to left guard, because he did start there in the NFC Championship game and has played almost 200 snaps there last season. And then you put Matt Pryor in at right guard, who has a ton of experience in the NFL playing right guard. So you kind of put those 5 together. I think if you did have to go without Landon Dickerson for a long period of time, that would be their 5. But the fact that they just put Brett Toth in there, left Tyler Steen at right guard, like I said, I feel like that means that they're thinking positively about Landon Dickerson, and he might be back in week 1. He might only miss 1 game, but either way, it's looking much better than we thought maybe 2-3 days ago.
And even if he misses the Dallas game, we're not writing anything off. It's a division rival. They got some talent, but I think that we'll be fine. We could trust whatever the game plan ends up being against Dallas. Ram Rider with 3 says appreciate the 5. Says if Landon can't go week, it's probably week 1. If Landon can't go week 1, what are your thoughts on starting Matt Pryor? 8-year vet that's embedded in the Eagles culture and is a big boy, not Toth.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally basically what I was just saying. I think, I mean, even without moving Tyler Steen, I feel like you could just insert Matt Pryor at left guard as well. I mean, he hasn't played, I think it's under 200 snaps there in his career at left guard compared to like almost 2,000 at right guard in his career. So obviously more experience at one spot compared to the other. But I do think he has that that size that like Jeff Stoutland likes at guard. He's a bigger guard, and he even has experience at tackle. So he's the guy that they could really utilize anywhere if they need somebody. And like I said, if they did think Landon Dickerson was going to be out, I think Matt Pryor would be in there.
Yeah, I agree. That was the thought on my side. There's others that mentioned Kellen Green, which sounds like he's out for the preseason, maybe longer. I had the shoulder injury that he's dealing with. I don't know that there wasn't a whole lot of hype before that, really. So wish him well. Hopefully he recovers. Probably make the roster. I mean, some people threw out the idea of you get 2 IR spots. If it's bad enough, do they say, well, we'll try to, put him on the IR, save him for later? And, you have the other element. You had mentioned, I think, Cameron Williams way back whenever we recorded a month or even a couple months ago, the phantom IR injury. Who does Howie Roseman try to keep that maybe other teams would claim or, take from the Eagles? It's a possibility, I guess we could suppose there. We'll see. There's multiple options. Trenton Wright, member for 2 months, says if we start Adoree at cornerback 2, I'll scream. Go Birds. I think that's probably I'll scream in a negative way. He didn't say specifically. I'm going to take that as a negative if they start Adoree Jackson at cornerback 2.
Well, I hate to break it to you, Trenton, but all signs kind of point so far right now to Adoree Jackson being that starter. And I personally think that would be the right decision. I feel like in the preseason game, he looked better than Kelee Ringo, in my opinion. I know Kelee Ringo has the ups, like all the upside. I feel like all we talk about is he's so young, he's so big, he has all this upside, and he just hasn't put it together. That's just the truth. Like, he just hasn't put it all together yet. And the Eagles aren't necessarily in the position where they can just let this guy learn on the job. I feel like the better idea would be to go with Adoree Jackson, who, he doesn't have the ceiling that Kelee Ringo does, but I think he raises the floor at that second cornerback spot where he might not, he's going to give up, say, maybe 50, 60 yards in a game or whatever, but he might not miss the tackles that Kelee Ringo does or get kind of confused in these little schemes and things like that Kelee Ringo did. So obviously they have 2 more games to kind of play it out, and maybe we'll completely see a completely different Kelee Ringo, and he looks a lot more polished and better. But the fact that coming out of college, the question was like his hips and being able to turn, and then we literally saw him. It looked like he was like an old Cadillac trying to make that turn and keep up with Jamar Chase. And you have to realize that teams understand how good Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean are. So they're going to attack you with their best players, and Kelee Ringo has to be ready for that. So if he's just getting embarrassed like that, granted, it was one of the best quarterback to wide receiver connections in the NFL, so it's kind of putting a lot of weight on him. But at the same time, like, that's who he's probably going to be tested by in week 1. It's going to be Dak throwing a CeeDee Lamb or George Pickens against Kelee Ringo. Like, you have to be ready for these matchups. It's not where you're going to be getting the third best receiver on the team. You're going to be seeing the best guys, unless Quinyon Mitchell shadows, which offenses are smart. They're going to be able to scheme things up and make it so he can't always cover the best guy and test Kelee Ringo. So I think Adoree Jackson, just given his experience and given his maybe a little bit more reliability where he's a little bit better of a tackler and things like that, I just think Adoree Jackson might win the job. And I don't think it's the end of the world if he does.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, maybe Jacorian Bennett, perhaps, though. Like, we throw that one. He's got a little ways to go because he's barely getting like a little bit of first team reps, but he's got to. And Fangio even said in the press conference whenever he was asked about it, like, he's got to learn the scheme, he's got to learn the system. So he has a lot that he has to kind of undertake. But I mean, he's got a small sample size, but he's got a proven record against Jamar Chase, against some of the others. So there's hope on my side. Like, if he can pick that up quick enough and be good to go, maybe it's something where it's like, he's kind of there, but not fully. So maybe it's also good for him to sit out and wait. And then, if it's Adoree Jackson to start, first couple weeks not going so great, hey, now Jacorian, you're more comfortable with the defense and we insert you there. I don't know. I feel like just hip turn fluidity, what he brings to the table might be, I don't know, the happy medium, so to speak, between Adoree Jackson and Kelee Ringo, but he's got to get comfortable, as we know. So lots of questions with the cornerback spot. Could really be anybody. AJ with a 10, appreciate that. Says, Anthony, you see the cornerback play more than we can. Is it as bad as some writers make it out to be, or is it just the looking period, in quotes, quote unquote, looking period, where we want that splash player opposite of Q?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have credentials because I'm not going to get into it. But I mean, I don't really get much more of a look than you guys do, but I feel like I kind of pride myself on paying really close attention to all the reports and watching as much film as I can in the All-22 and things like that. And I feel like I've said this before, we even saw these guys on the field. I'm not as down on the cornerback situation as maybe some of the other writers are, or just the fans in general. I think I said it before that I think Adoree Jackson's was a little bit better than people gave him credit for. Obviously, like I said, he doesn't have the ceiling of an All-Pro or Pro Bowl caliber player, but you really just need like a baseline, like decent starter from the guy that's playing there. You just need the guy that's not going to get toasted and be Bradley Fletcher out there and just get torched the entire game. You just need a guy that can be reliable, make tackles when plays come their way, and just not get burnt and not be abused where they could just avoid Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean and just throw for 200 yards against you. So I feel like Adoree Jackson can do that. And then if, like you said, Jacorian Bennett or Kelee Ringo can step up and show what they can do, because Jacorian Bennett, I know his coverage numbers were great, but he also has struggled with missed tackles and things like that. So if he can get up to speed, when we saw kind of how Cooper DeJean came in after that bye week and kind of turned the whole defense around, maybe we see Jacorian Bennett do that, where in week 4, week 5, as you mentioned, he kind of finally catches up and he's ready to start. And after we see Adoree Jackson or Kelee Ringo out there. So the addition of Bennett, I feel like helped the overall picture at cornerback, but yeah, I'm not too down on it as some others might be.
It's fair enough. Makes some sense too. But obviously, we get agree to disagree with some people in the chat and other questions there. David here with a 5 though says, sorry, just joined after work and at the joint practice. Just joined after work at the joint practice. Are you more interested in how the defensive backs will play or the offensive line for the joint practice? Always a great show. Thanks. Go Birds. Appreciate it, Dave.
I mean, I want to say the cornerbacks because you want to see, obviously, Kelee Ringo or Adoree Jackson or Jacorian Bennett, whoever is that other guy, get tested by a guy like Jerry Jeudy. But if they do just have Jeudy against Quinyon Mitchell and you just see their other guys against him, I feel like that's not much of a tough test. So if they do get matched up with Jerry Jeudy, I think like that would be great and a huge test for those guys. But I just don't know what we're going to see. And then I think the offensive line, they still should be just really good regardless. I'm almost more excited to see the Eagles defensive line against the Browns offensive line because I feel like the Browns offensive line was really banged up last year, but when they're healthy, I mean, they have a bunch of studs there with DeJuan Jones, Joel Bitonio, Ethan Pochich, Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin. I mean, they've all pretty much have either been considered for Pro Bowl or All-Pro team. Like they have some guys there, so it's going to be fun to see Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Moro Ojomo, even Nolan Smith, Jokes Hunt kind of be tested against those guys as well.
Yeah, I remember there was a clip and kind of a write-up of Jalen Carter against Joel Bitonio that I want to say he like just flattened him, like he just bull rushed him and flattened it. There was something to that effect, but I remember that he just kind of embarrassed him. But it was one of those moments of like we knew that he was going to be good, but they have to keep it under wraps a little bit on their own players or their own teammates. So Jalen Carter wasn't going to necessarily do that with the Eagles O-line. But when he did it at the joint practice against Cleveland, then you go, okay, yeah, that's that guy, and that's who he's going to be, which he's turned into it. So I hope we see the same thing from Moro Ojomo. It was cool getting Clint Hurts' take on it, saying like he's basically another coach on the field. They don't view him as a rotational player. It's like no, he could do it if we needed to. He could play 3-down player, make all the plays. He sees things, he's recognizing, he's calling it out to us. So. Yeah, it's not only the physical tools, but you're seeing that next step from Big Mo, and it's a dangerous thing. You already got JC, JD, Big Mo. Come on.
Clint Hurt almost looked like bothered by that question, right? He was like,
yeah.
Because I don't know if the reporter said like, can he play on rundowns or pass downs? I forget which one it said, but he was like, we view him as a full-time player. Like he's like, no, like we view him as a 3-down guy. That's not even. Yeah, so I mean. He's a guy that I think is going to – I feel like in Philadelphia he's received a ton of hype, but I don't think the world, like the NFL world, if you want to say, or like these other teams really under – like it's just Jalen Carter. But I don't think they realize how good Moro Ojomo is. Actually, yeah, obviously he looks better next to Jalen Carter, but even when Carter was out during certain practices, he was dominating. And like the fact that even at the public practice he was dominating, and now I feel like I'm really excited to see him in this joint practice. Obviously we won't see it, but we'll hear about it, and maybe we'll see a couple clips. Who knows? But, yeah. I mean, he's – considering where they picked him and now, like, the ceiling that everybody sees for him, it's really incredible.
I mean, you're right. It's crazy. He literally could be the Jordan Mailata of the defense. Like, 7th-round pick, a guy that, you're like, well, maybe he makes the roster, maybe not. Who knows? There's a lot of potential there, sure, but turning into what he has so far – it's like, man, you can tell they're incredibly smart. That's another thing, too. Like, the way they see things, it's not just a physically gifted defensive line, but the recognition is just insane. And Jalen Carter, I don't think he gets near enough credit for as talented as he is. We're talking about Moro Ojomo as well, but like Jalen Carter does not get enough credit, I think, for his play recognition. Even though we think back to his rookie year and the first play of his NFL career in the Ravens game where he almost sacked Josh Jones like that, and you're going, oh my gosh, this dude, what just happened? Did he really just do that? And the Eagles are like, let's take him out. Okay, that's good. We don't need to see anymore. You're good. We know that you're going to be fine. But talking about it afterwards, he's like, yeah, I was watching film on that. Like, oh, really? Okay, so for preseason game, you're already going there, preseason game, watching film, watching tendencies of who you're matching up against. Not that the guys don't watch film normally, but you're like, when a rookie takes it upon himself to do it that early, yeah, no doubt you're going to be one of the best. And Jalen Carter's just getting started. So it's crazy. It helps playing next to the bread man. We'll say that. Ram with another 5. Isaiah Rodgers' contract looks really great right now. I was upset at the time, and now I'm even more upset with the way the corner room has shaped out.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that was a pretty common criticism among Eagles fans and even the reporters, where you're like, when the first came out and you're like, oh, all right, he left. Like, he probably got a decent contract. And then you see what he left for, and you're like, you couldn't match that? Like, it just didn't make any sense. And even now, it still doesn't make any sense to me, because I felt similarly about both Isaiah Rodgers and Oren Burks, because I thought Oren Burks was just such like a competent backup linebacker, where he competed, obviously, he contributed on special teams, but then when he was called upon to start, he played at a surprisingly high level, and then he walks for basically close to a veteran minimum, and you're like, why didn't you bring that back? But now you look at their linebacker room, and you're like, oh, that's why. They just had the best linebacker room in the NFL, but the cornerback room obviously is still filled with uncertainty, and it feels like if you just plugged in Isaiah Rodgers next to Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, you just keep it moving, and there's almost no drop-off given how Isaiah Rodgers played last season when he was called upon in several different games and had to step in the middle of games and wasn't really prepared. Like, he played really well, and it would have been really nice to have him back. Obviously, he meant a ton to you and the channel too, given his involvement in videos and things like that. But so yeah, that's still kind of a head scratcher, and it's hard to doubt a lot of what Howie Roseman does, but that one still doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that was tough, as you say, for multiple reasons, but that was tough. Zay, a friend of the show, had him on a couple times. Would have been on again had we gotten something done, but who knows? Maybe for the future. I wish him the best. Good luck for him, but I'm feeling the same way. It's like, man, be a little bit more confident if we had Zay on the opposite next to or playing alongside Q and Coop, but I think it was a doubling down, I suppose, of Howie to be like, yeah, you know what? We're going to trust Kelee Ringo. He's got to get the reps, so we've just made the choice to move on because it wasn't necessarily a financial one. So it is what it is. That's what he chose. Solid with a 2. Let's stop the nonsense. Bennett is going to be cornerback 2. Okay, well, there's the thought, the take on that. A lot of people believe that. I mean, I hope that we have someone, because we text fairly frequently, back about various instances, whether it's the safety alignments and the craziness that Vic Fangio's doing, or, who the cornerback's going to be, or the fact that it's like, it's probably not the best sign that we continue to rotate these corners and that nobody's really standing out, right? And there's a small element to it, or you can go, yeah, well, Vic Fangio, he likes to mix things up. He likes to play guys with guys that aren't going to necessarily play together because you never know injuries and how the season plays out. That makes sense. But the other side of that is, okay, when the first team defense goes out there, like Nolan Smith is an edge that goes out with the first team defense. Jalix Hunt is an edge that goes out with the first team defense. Jalen Carter is a defensive tackle that goes out with those guys are never like, oh, well, maybe it's Jalix Hunt, maybe it's Josh. No, it is clear and obvious of who your starters are. So the fact that they continue to switch, it's only suggesting like, yeah, well, they definitely don't know. They don't have their answer. Now, the silver lining or the optimistic glass half full way to look at this thing is that was Nakobe Dean last year, and then look how Nakobe Dean did. And he had kind of a rough preseason. There were some plays that he missed, some tackles that he missed. And you're going like, man, I don't know that this is going to be the starter, let alone like, how is he going to be here for a long term? Like, is there going to be something that works out? Because not really showing it to you. And he was getting mostly second and third team reps. And then all of a sudden, he took the job and ran away with it. So it's not impossible that it could be Kelee Ringo, it could be Adoree Jackson. But as you say, and as you laid out a second ago, it just doesn't give you the most, confident game plan or the confident feeling going into it with the corners and the way they just flip-flop them, basically every practice.
Yeah, I mean, would I be surprised if Ja'Cory Bennett won the job and was the week 1 starter? No, I just feel like you said, that's kind of just the unfortunate situation that they're in, is that they have these 3 guys and we're almost over 2 weeks into training camp and we still don't know who the starter is. And we've kind of mocked other teams in the past where the Giants were using different offensive line kind of combinations and heading into the second preseason game. And now the Eagles are doing the same at cornerback. And I mean, I know it's just one position, but Sidney Brown and Drew Mukuba are kind of battling out at safety still. Like, that's 2 spots out of basically 5 starters if you want to say nickel, because that's what they're going to play probably 70% of the time at least. So that's 2 spots in your secondary that are unsettled. And we saw just last year how important communication is in the secondary and how a comfortable and confident secondary can communicate so well and play off of different coverages and kind of find these spots that normally they wouldn't because they know where the other guy's going to be. Like, the fact that these 2 spots are unsettled to this point is a little bit concerning. And I know, like you said, maybe it plays out and everything is going to be just fine. But that was one of the things coming into the season where I said last year they had a ton of success with all the young guys, where basically any young guy they needed played well and almost exceeded expectations. But that doesn't always happen. There are plenty of times where you kind of thrust the young guy into a position that he's not ready for and they fail. And that's kind of what Kelee Ringo has done so far, but I'm not going to write him off just yet.
Totally fair. He's got some time. We can turn it around. Could end up being, we're good to go. FCB Panda with a 5, saying Ringo looks in position every time. I've seen a clip of him, but he just looks scared to take his eyes off the wide receiver to make a play on the ball, in my opinion. So I feel like that's the takeaway there from Panda, that he's in position every time, but just scared to take his eyes off the receiver. He turns his back to the play quite a bit. I mean, if you watch the all 22 or the film breakdown, he loses side of the ball. So, like, I mean, it's depends on the sample size, because you could probably make a counter argument to this on everything, because there is so much tape out there to go, oh, well, hey, he's in position here, but he's not in position here. So he gets beat at times, but there is an element to it, yes, where he's like on the receiver, but for one, he's not watching the ball. But then, as you said, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes ago, the fluidity in his hips, it's like that. Like, I'll just take Ja'Marr Chase, for example. On the play where he made they threw it as a back shoulder throw, and Ja'Marr Chase got like 20 yards, and it's just a super easy throw and catch. Now it's Joe Burrow, it's Ja'Marr Chase. They're the best. Ja'Marr Chase does that against a lot of corners. But the difference is, for one, Q is keeping his eyes in the backfield, and also Q is ready to break the instant that Ja'Marr makes the cut to go for his backside shoulder. Kelee Ringo is there, and it seems like it takes him 3 times as long. As soon as Ja'Marr makes the cut, well, finally Keelee's getting over there. And so I think that while it is Ja'Marr Chase, you just see a lot of other receivers to go, if they see that tape, they're like, hey, look, if you're a quarterback and you're watching that matchup, if we have this look, throw it to the back shoulder, because I can beat him to the ball. If the ball's on time, there's basically nothing that Kelee Ringo can do against it. Whereas the counter to that is, if it's Q in that spot, good luck, because if you throw it, he might pick it off, right? So there's just a difference of looking at that. Now, Panda, you may be correct in the assessment of he's just scared of taking his eyes off just in general the wide receiver, but if he's never ever looking at the quarterback, then, I mean, yeah, he's going to be late, because it's just reactionary. Oh, well, okay, now they made the catch and get the tackle. So, I don't know. It's one of many takeaways, I guess, for what Kelee Ringo is or isn't doing. But Tone with the 2. Ross/Webster were the Giants Super Bowl defensive backs, so we're fine. I mean, I think we're both saying that we're fine, even if it's just a single position, like you were saying a second ago. You can, or 2, like safety. Hopefully you figure something out. Justin Simmons is still out there, but we won't go down that completely. I just feel like it's a combo. There's more than enough talent on this defense, even if you have a quote unquote hole or a little bit of weakness in a position or two. Like they absolutely. Got Kachow with a 10. So let's call a spade a spade. Oh, thank you. Y'all are the best. I was wondering where this is going. Y'all are the best content creators out there. Thank you. You got a good mix of analysis and jokes, but I think a collab with you and Grossi and Perna would be so good. Well, first off, thank you. And secondly, yeah, absolutely. If Tom Grossi and Brandon Perna ever see this or ever want to collab, totally down before the Broncos game, I'll throw it out there for Perna. The Packers one as well. Like, I don't know. I've reached out to Tom in the past before, but he's a busy guy, understandably so. He's traveling he did the whole stadium tour thing, all the charity work. But yeah, those are the goats. So, but I appreciate it very much. And who knows? I guess it potentially could happen in the future. We'll see.
Look at us, Josh. Remember, I was getting called bland and I didn't have any personality and I was sitting in my car. And now, look at us. We're getting called good because we have jokes and energy. This is great. And
you're not homeless anymore. So there you go.
I have a house now.
You got a house. You got a setup behind you, some Eagles gear. You got the card with the football and everything. Yeah.
It's not the studio that you have over there. But listen, I'm making the most of what I can.
It looks good. It looks good. We appreciate it. But Kachow, thank you. Thank you for that. John with a 5. By the way, I'm going to spin here in a second because we're getting close to wrapping it up. But for the giveaway, so the Jahan Dotson jersey as well as the football for people that are wondering. Run through these super chats. John with a 5. Browns joint practice should be fun tomorrow. Jihaad is going to tear someone up. That is almost a guarantee. I think that you take your pick, I guess, at who that's going to be, but Nick Sirianni, it's one thing to be like, hey, we need to just cool it, right? These aren't our players, as we talked about before. This is one of those where you can say to Jihaad, go at it. Good luck, man. You're there. If anything, maybe it starts a little bit of fights or scrums, and we've seen that certainly quite a bit in the last couple of years because, tempers flare. It can get a little hot. Guys are ready to, maybe hit somebody that's not their own teammate. So, yeah, Jihaad is going to be making some plays. Let's just say that. That's almost a guarantee. Matt with a 10. Appreciate it, Matt. Going back to the membership comment for somebody asked that. Membership gets you 15% off merchandise. And then also give our cornerbacks a chance. Oh, hold on. I missed that one. Give our cornerbacks a chance. Remember, Vic put the win or Vic, maybe that's a typo. Vic put them in cover 0 a lot just to stress them. The defense is ready to fly like these memberships. There you go. And Matt also gifting out 10 more Philly Special Show memberships. The man, come on, 10 more. People getting access to those. Congratulations. Thank you, Matt. That is true. Vic put him in stressful situations, blitzing quite a bit, asking a lot of the corners. And as he said, he's like, hey, I'm not too upset that he gave up the reception. I'm upset that he didn't make the tackle. Well, that's what it comes down to. You give up a 15-yard gain to Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow, that's going to happen. You don't make the tackle and you allow it to go for whatever it was, 40 yards and a score, then, yeah, that's not as good.
Yeah, I feel like that's exactly what I was saying, too, earlier. It's just like, yeah, he's in position. He's not reacting to the ball. But if you're going to be that guy and allow the reception, you have to be there to clean up and make the tackle afterwards. You can't allow the catch and then compound it with allowing more yards after the catch or things like that.
Yeah, yeah. David also, we appreciate that with the 5. Saying, any thoughts on Vic Fangio's presser where he implied, oh, well, this is actually right. We kind of talked about it again, but right after Matt's one, where he implied he intentionally used cover 0 to stress the cornerbacks when he never would in a game. Go Birds. That's kind of what we were all talking about. But it's just unique looks. It's situations that, as you say there, David, like they may not see in a game. Is Vic going to put a cover 0 call in, especially against Joe Burrow, who can recognize it, and especially like you watch the play back if you haven't or you want to go back and do some research on it. It's a cover 0 call from the Eagles. Burrow sends Chase, I think it's Chase, it's a receiver, I think it is Chase in motion, but he sends him in motion and instantly knows that it's cover 0. Like, it's a total giveaway. Sidney Brown runs up to the line. He could see the way the linebackers react. It's a blatantly obvious, like, oh, yeah, they're blitzing. So maybe a rookie quarterback it works against. Like, they don't pick up on it as much. But Joe Burrow saw it all day. He knew as soon as that happened, he's like, yep. He's like, Jamar, run your route. He looks at him. He gives him a quick signal. It was going to happen all day. So you're right. It's a let's just see what happens. It's a one-on-one. You're on an island. You're not going to have help. Unfortunately, Kelee got beat. But even Fangio said in the presser after that like, hey, I think it was good for him. I think it was good for him to learn. They get some experience. They'll come back from this, and hopefully they'll learn. So I'm not freaking out about it. Was it good? No, but I'm not like, well, let's just, I don't know, burn everything down, trade everybody. It's amazing the amount of comments that came after that, though. Even after trading for Jacorian Bennett, like, bro, we got to trade for Asante Samuel Jr. Like, hold on, the corner that Howie just traded for has not even gotten on the field yet, and we're already saying it's not enough. Let's bring over Asante Samuel Jr. Let's wait a little bit.
Yeah, I think the whole concern, honestly, about like the second cornerback spot has become almost a little bit too blown out of proportion, where I think people are viewing it like it's the end of the world, like the defense is just not going to be good at all. But like I said, all you need is just serviceable level play from that spot, and just the rest of the defense is so elite and could just dominate, even with the front seven, that whoever the second safety and whoever the second cornerback are might not even matter with how good the front seven is going to be.
And that's the other element to it as well, because it's a marriage, and we've seen in the past whenever the pass rush cannot get to the quarterback and the secondary is not great. So, I'm totally with you. Like they'll make up for a decent amount, even if he's not covering like a Quinyon or a Cooper DeJean. So, okay, let me do these giveaways here because we are running up against it, and then as I'm getting that set up, we can get to a couple more. All right. Let's see. Should we do the Jahan Dotson jersey first? We could do both of them, but let's see. We'll do that. So Jahan Dotson, the signed jersey. Here we go.
Look at that. Beautiful. Pretty
legit. Shout out to Jahan, by the way. Like, Anthony can attest to this. We did not make it easy for Jahan to find us, let alone pass off this jersey. And he took time out of his busy schedule to go back to the locker room, get his jersey, come all the way back over to the field, the other side of the field, and pass it off. So shout out to him. But this is fun. This is anytime player interactions like this, a personalized giveaway. So good luck to everybody. If you had entered in the last couple videos, you got your comments here. So let's see, I think I can get this one on the screen and share. And this will be anyone who got those entries in. Hopefully you're on the stream, as I always say. But if you're not, then still have some time to claim it. And I'll give you a week or so, and then we'll also spin for the football next. So here we go. Good luck all. Who's it going to be? It is Robert McGee, 4909. With a comment from that video there of saying, great to see the tush push again. Robert, come on down if you're here. I don't think I saw Robert so far in the chat. I might have missed it, but if you are, say something. Say, hey, what's up? I'm here. Muhammad, I don't think that's you. I think it's spelled a little bit differently.
Just a little bit off.
It's pretty close. It's close enough. Yes, congratulations there. Robert McGee, 4909. You have won the Jahan Dotson signed jersey. As always, email me, thephillyspecialshow@gmail.com, or DM on one of the socials. I will announce that in an upcoming video too, so you have some time to claim it. As always, though, if Robert is not, we'll spin this thing away next week on the live stream. And the last giveaway that we actually had to do that. We had to give away to someone on the live stream. So stay tuned. One more. Oh, as Muhammad and others are saying this, I forgot. But forgot my wife's coffee machine is broken. I really hope that you win this thing now, because it's worked the last several times that someone said their coffee machine is broken. So let's see if this thing works for people that have said that. Again, this is the Philly Dogs signed football. Got Nolan Smith on it, Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean. Unfortunately, Jalen Carter stood us up, but no hard feelings. We love the bread man. They were saying that he was going to be there, and then it's like, well, he's a little tired from practice. So I get it. I totally understand. It's just, missing an autograph that we were hoping to have. That's all right. That's fine. Okay, so giving this thing away. Again, this is for the signed football, as other people are also saying they have their their coffee machine or their wife's coffee machine broken. Please be someone on the stream. This would be too good. All right, good luck all. Here we go. Signed football. Who will it be? Come on. B Saver 5942 with the comment saying Micah knows he has no chance of winning with the Cowboys, so he's trying to get as much money as possible. That was the comment there from the video. That was all you had to do is be subscribed and comment on that video. And B Saver, congratulations. You have won. Same deal. If you're here, it'd be fantastic. Excuse me. If you're here, it'd be fantastic. I don't think that I saw B Saver, but let me know. Got a little bit of time. Again, same deal as before. ThePhillySpecialShow@gmail.com or DM on one of the socials. You got a week. The clock is ticking, but congratulations. There we go. Both giveaways. You know, people have not claimed these, even though I've put these in videos over the last couple times. Something tells me one of these is going to be next week. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe both people claim them. But something tells me that either this football or the Jahan Dotson, or maybe both, but one of them will be given away to people on the stream. So, and actually, I think what I'll do is I'll do it for members only if he doesn't claim it. Because, you know, special kudos to the members. So stay tuned. If you're a member and then these don't get claimed, they're going to one of you guys.
That would be nice.
Let's see. Caesar saying, Josh, they're not claiming them, bro. Well, give them a chance. Or give them a week. If they're not, then yeah, we'll give them out to somebody else. Someone else was asking before about the Fantasy Football League. We will be doing that, so stay tuned. There will be more details, but giving people time to sign up. We'll probably start announcing it really soon because we are into fantasy football season and drafts, but I like to wait till after the preseason, you know, just injuries and depth charts and roster orders and everything else. So, you know, it'll probably be like the last week of August, something like that. So
I'm going through that debate now with my buddies because I'm in 2 leagues and it's like, when is your draft? All right, when is your draft? And I'm trying to talk to my wife and make it listen. I got it because it's both of them are live drafts, so you know I got to go there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So now it's like figuring out, making sure they're not conflicting and whatever. So,
and it's a whole ordeal. It's totally like live draft is the way to do it, but you know then it's like the 5-hour thing because you got the food and the potential smack talk and the trades and everything else that goes into it. Yeah, it's a whole deal.
It's like arranging a Thanksgiving dinner. Who's bringing what? Who's bringing the pizza? Who's bringing the
wings? It really
is.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But that's what makes it so great. You know, nothing against like the online drafts and everything because it's more efficient for sure, and you can kind of do it like as you're also distracted. So, you know, for us with kids, I've got a couple leagues that works, and that's actually much better. But nothing beats doing the draft in person. We'll say that.
Yes.
Okay. I didn't see anybody else that actually won, B Saver and others. So it looks like we'll have to hopefully hear from them on an upcoming video, but if not, be giving those away. Matt with a 2 saying yellow helmet giveaway. Maybe so. That's actually not a bad idea. Do the giveaway for people. Yeah, people with the helmet. Mega John should only do giveaways on live stream. That's where the content support. Well, we do both. I definitely do several of those. But for these, I had announced it previously for the videos, so had to stay consistent. So, all right. Well, I appreciate you guys. I probably got to jump anyway, but
I could feel your wife hitting you with the Shadur Sanders, pointing at the watch. Like, it's time. Let's go.
It might be time. It might be time. It was fun though, so you know we enjoyed it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Good as always. Fault. It did. No, I wouldn't throw you under the bus like that. You know, I could keep this thing going anyway. So you know, but it was fun. It had been a while, obviously, you know, for the recording and everything else. So we'll start getting on a more regular schedule and whatnot. Underdog is also an official channel sponsor during the season, so stay tuned for that. We'll have some more picks and plays, and I believe we'll have the jersey giveaways during during games this season. So, the first touchdown scorer and all that. So, some good fun stuff planned. But appreciate you guys, as always. More videos to come. Joint practices tomorrow and Thursday. We'll have recaps and videos after those. And we'll be streaming the preseason game on Saturday. So, it sounds like Ant-Man may be joining.
Hopefully so. That would be fun.
Could be good. All right. Well, that's it. We're going to wrap. Appreciate it, guys. As always. Oh, at the buzzer. I got a super chat. I was literally about to do the sign off. And I got to start the whole thing over. Start the whole thing over. All right, hold on. The 5 from Wu Kingdom. Appreciate that. It says, Ant, have you heard anything about Reed Blankenship? He's been quiet, but watch him make a play in joint practices tomorrow and Thursday.
Still nothing that I've heard, according to sources, as far as contract negotiations, but it seems like he's still on track to be the top safety on the team, and I think everything is fine there health-wise. So Vic Fangio's kind of just mixing things up with different looks, but he'll still be the top safety. It's just who knows if he's in Philadelphia beyond this season.
There we go. There's your latest answer. To be determined. Hopefully they get something done, but we will keep you posted. All right, here we go. Again, appreciate you guys. Have a great night. As always, go Birds.